Hey citizens, welcome back to the Leo Dotson Show. It's good to see you. Today I want to talk to you about a very important issue that I think is pervasive in all the problems we're having with our government and our loss of freedoms. The topic of safety versus freedom. One of my favorite quotes, although I did botch it pretty badly in one of my other videos, I say this all the time, from Benjamin Franklin over 200 years ago, who said, "Those who give up liberty, our freedoms, in lieu of safety, receive neither, and they deserve neither." Now think about that. And think about every time we lose one of our freedoms, what do politicians always say? Politicians always use safety. We'll keep you safer. Safety as an excuse when they destroy our freedoms. Every single one of them. If we go through our Constitution and our Bill of Rights, which makes us unique in the world and is the only thing that guarantees our freedoms, think about the abuses, the laws and the bills that have been passed that violate our Constitution. Keep in mind, the President, the Vice President, every member of Congress, every member of the judicial system, from the Supreme Court on down to the lower courts, and every member of the executive, legislative, and judicial branch of the state and District of Columbia all swear to uphold the Constitution. Why are they not doing it? Think about our Bill of Rights. Speech. We have the freedom of speech and the press. How has that been trampled on lately, especially on the internet? There are numerous bills under the name of what? You guessed it. Safety. We're going to keep you safer, that are nothing more than censorship to destroy sites around the world and millions of sites that talk about what our government is doing. I thought we were supposed to have a transparent government. I thought we were supposed to have a Freedom of Information Act. Where are those? What's happened to that? It seems like they're more cloaked than ever. We have a right. It is our government. It is not the government that dictates to us as we're subjects. We, the people, elect our leaders. They answer to us. And if we don't get back to that, we're going to end up in a situation that is much like communist countries or socialistic countries, much more than worse than socialistic countries, fascist countries. Look around the world. Look at what's happening. And look at what's happening in our own government. Look at the riots that are happening. Look at the police state that we're living in. We are becoming more fascist every day. And when you first hear, they go, "Oh, come on, you're just being a little over dramatic." It's not dramatic anymore. There's an intent to make this happen. SOPA and PIPA and CISPA, look those up. Those are bills that will destroy the internet under the name of safety. Same thing with the press. Look at the consolidation that's happened in major media. There are very few. When you have fewer and fewer sources of information, you get the same information from colluded groups who are trying to distract you. And we're so busy watching entertainment, and that's fine, but when it distracts us from the real issues like these that actually affect us, it causes problems. I mean, it's fun to watch football, basketball, and baseball. I'm a sports enthusiast. I played football for years. Of course I love it, but that's not the most important thing in the world. Neither is Snooki or reality TV or who's going to win the next singing or dancing contest. All those are fun. But we as a society right now are so focused on entertainment that we're losing sight of what actually affects us. None of those things actually affect us. I mean, I love Derek Jeter and the Yankees and Nick Swisher, and when they strike out, I feel bad. But I don't think they really get upset when something goes bad in my life. Not to say anything bad about Jeter and Swish. Hey, I wish them the best. But the bottom line is, entertainment, whatever form, does not affect us at all. But losing our Bill of Rights affects your life every single day, and it's happening more and more. Freedom of religion is also. Now understand, we have the freedom of religion to practice whatever religion we want, or no religion at all. And we also have freedom from religion that, unlike Europe in the past, and unlike the Middle East today, our government has no right to infringe any religious beliefs on us, or to hamper with those people who do have religious beliefs. And sadly, I see attacks against religious organizations through our government, and I see other religious zealots who want to not only choose their own religion, but push their religious beliefs and values onto us. That doesn't happen in a free society. That happens in religious societies like in the Middle East. Do we really want to be like that? Everyone gets to choose one person's religion and one person's only, your own. You don't get to use the government to make everyone else adhere to your beliefs. That's a free society. And if you can't stand to watch other people practice religions that you don't favor, or no religion at all, then perhaps you should move to the Middle East. because that's what a free society is all about. And it comes from the extremist. I really believe that the people in the middle, the libertarians, the moderate Democrats, the moderate Republicans, the independents, the swing voters, we all feel the same way. We want to be economically conservative, responsible, fiscally intelligent, and we want to let people live the life that they choose to live for themselves, whether we agree with it or not. That is what a free country is all about. And what I see right now are the extremists in both parties taking over. I see the extremists in the far left of the Democratic Party trying to take our economic freedoms away and pay for programs that we can't pay for. They're bankrupting our country today, and even worse for the future generations who can't live with this debt. And on the Republican side, the extremists in the Republican Party, and there are a few, but they're a very loud majority, or excuse me, a loud minority, they are trying to push their religious freedom, their religious beliefs on us, which takes away our social freedoms. So it seems like what we have to do is look to both parties to have the moderates, the people who believe in freedom, true liberty, and the Bill of Rights. So libertarians stand up, independents stand up, moderate Democrats and Republicans, you've got to get back together to take our country back from the extremists on the far fringes of political reality that are destroying our Constitution. We've got to stop arguing between Democrats and Republicans and come together as a people and realize it's we the people against our government. It's becoming everything that it was never set out to be. We have the right through our First Amendment to peaceably assemble and protest. Look at how that's being trampled on. I mean, were you seeing our own police beating innocent civilians, U.S. citizens? The police, when I grew up, were supposed to serve and protect. And to them, many of them, and to their credit, many police officers have joined the force so they can do just that. But look how many times the government misuses our police, just like they've misused our military, and have them protecting not the citizens of the United States, but protecting the government, a government that has overstretched its bounds and has done everything to destroy our Constitution. We have the right to protect ourselves. And for the extreme liberals out there, hey, I love you and I respect you, but the bottom line is the Second Amendment is being trampled on. And for the record, our founding fathers didn't set up the Second Amendment so that we could all go deer hunting, which that's fine if you do. I have no problem with hunters. You know, I'm not one myself, but I respect your right to. But that's not the reason for the Second Amendment. Our founding fathers gave us the Second Amendment to protect us from our own government. And by the way, friends, there's 311 million of us U.S. citizens who are armed. The government may not be able to use the powerful forces it has against us. That's what it was set up for, my friends. And do you really believe that by disarming law-abiding citizens that somehow we're going to be safer when only the military and gangs and criminals have guns? That makes no sense. And by the way, experiential evidence shows it's never worked anywhere that it's been deployed. Secondly, or thirdly, in our Fourth Amendment, we have the right, the government has to show probable cause before they search us. Do you realize now in New York City, there is a law, in fact, called the Stop and Frisk Pat-Down Law. They can look at anybody, no probable cause, just that they think in their mind looks suspicious, they can grab them, don't know what they're looking for, and pat them down. And guess why they do that? Oh, you're going to be safer. How can you be safe? I'd rather get blown up by a bomb today than live for the rest of my life in a society that I don't recognize because there's no freedoms, where we're being constantly attacked and searched and probed and beaten by the Gestapo. Look around, wake up, stop watching entertainment for 5 seconds. Stop watching the major media, whether you're watching Fox on the right or MSNBC on the left or something in between. Stop watching that. Look outside, see what's going on. Look on the internet, see what's happening. This is not a free society anymore. And I'm not trying to be melodramatic. I wish I'd have to say this, but it's the truth. It's what's happening. Also, what about our judicial freedoms? What happened to the right to a trial? What happened to the right to be told of what you're being accused of, have a defense, have a jury of your peers, a speedy trial, no cruel and unusual punishment, bail? All those things have been eliminated, slowly but surely. Luckily, we just had a judge who stood up, who actually had some cojones, and overturned Obama's law, which he enforced, that gave him the sole ability. It sounds like an emperor from Rome. Gave him the ability, or any member of the government, but especially the president, to arrest and detain, put in jail, put in prison forever. That's indefinite detention, with no access to an attorney, no access to a trial, and no bail. They just sit there like Nelson Mandela as a political dissident. Do we really want to be the old regime of South Africa, or the USSR or the Middle East or China? Because that's what we are, if that's the kind of laws we have in place. Thank God a judge overturned that as unconstitutional. Duh. It's about as unconstitutional as you can get. And you know what? That really wasn't reported very heavily on any of the major networks, was it? And I'll bet you were so busy watching entertainment you didn't even know that happened. But that's a law. That was a fact. It's being overturned, thank God. We need to be aware and wake up to what's going on. How about being innocent until proven guilty? It's like the presumption, we're presumed guilty as soon as the government decides that they don't like what we're doing. And then we have to hire very, very expensive attorneys to try to prove our innocence. That's not the way a free society works. I'm reminded of the words of Thomas Paine, who wrote Common Sense, and we need a whole lot of common sense right now. When people fear their government, there is tyranny. When the government fears its people, there is liberty. I want to ask you, how many times when you see the police or government officials, are you scared? Or are you worried? Well, if you're not having to hide anything, what are you worried about? I'm worried about the fact that that the government can just attack us. They can just search us for no probable cause whatsoever. I'm worried about the fact that we're losing our freedoms and our Bill of Rights and our Constitution. It's looked at like it's a historical document in the Smithsonian, and it really has no bearing today, when that's what every law is supposed to be formed on. It is the supreme law of the land, and every single elected official is sworn to uphold that. So are our police and all of our first responders and our brave men and women in the armed forces. And I'll tell you what, most of our first responders and most of our police, and I believe almost all of our armed forces, whether they're soldiers, sailors, Marines, airmen, Coast Guard, Reserve, what have you, I respect you because unlike our elected officials, you actually adhere and honor your oath to our Constitution. So some things I want you to think about. The next time you see these things happening, the next time you see a law that goes into effect, whether it's something as trivial as a seatbelt law, let's talk about that for a second. Hey, it's a great idea to wear a seatbelt. You'll never get an argument from me. I wear a seatbelt every time I get into a car, and I did so before there was a law. But really all I'm doing is protecting myself. And when we have a law where police can stop you, harass you, ticket you, take your money because you're not protecting yourself, that's crazy. Click it or ticket. Give me a break. How about click it or stick it? I'm tired of government pushing laws that destroy our freedoms. I'll wear a safety belt because I choose to protect myself. In a free society, I don't need the government enforcing me to protect myself. And I know most people out there who are blind and an ostrich and have their head buried in the sand and not aware what's going on. And remember, when your head's buried in the sand, what's exposed? And that's exactly it, because the government is screwing us right now by destroying our Bill of Rights. And it may be trivial, but it starts with something as trivial as the government making you protect yourself. And by the way, that law, the seatbelt laws, which, hey, I wish everybody would wear a seatbelt, but you need to do that as a free citizen deciding to protect yourself, and not as a government-enforced regulation. We don't need any more of those. But here's the thing. You know, it wasn't pushed through for safety, although they tell you that. You know who pushed that through? The auto insurance companies. Why? Because just like I said, seatbelts do save lives, absolutely. And they know they'll pay out less claims if everybody wears a seatbelt or a helmet on a motorcycle. Now, you might think that everyone should. I do too. But they should be free to choose to protect themselves, not be forced to. And when it starts with something as simple as that, it's only a slippery slope. And now we see the evidence of what's happening. More and more of our laws are getting more and more egregious and more serious. We do not live in a free society, and that's sad. But we have the ability to right now. We need to take back our government. First, I would write your congressman or woman, but vote them out of office. Put people in charge who are actually going to adhere and honor their oath to uphold the Constitution. And we don't have to worry about the Supreme Court having to overturn unconstitutional regulations and laws because they won't be pushed forward in the first place. So from now on, my friends, I'm very passionate about this because I'm passionate about you and your rights, maybe even more so than you are, and I'm passionate about my country. I'm not very happy with my government on either side. But just be careful. The next time somebody says, "Oh, it's just for your safety," watch out.